process of fracking, where fluid is injected in underground rock formations to extract oil and gas, has been much discussed in the 2024 presidential campaign because it's a component of the economy in the key battleground state of Pennsylvania. But residents there say the presidential conversation often misses the mark when it comes to energy logistics and pricing. In southwestern Pennsylvania, natural gas prices have dropped roughly 80% in the last 2 years after they increased when Russia began its invasion of Ukraine. Given that more than a third of the residents live in counties where that gas is extracted, a drop in prices means people who signed off to allow drilling on their property aren't getting paid as much. The decline in prices also means a decline in jobs as the industry slows. Rebecca Elliott is an energy correspondent for the New York Times and recently wrote a piece about this issue. Rebecca, welcome. Thanks for being here. This is a really interesting piece, full of lots of complexities. Why are gas prices lower now?
Sure. So we saw natural gas prices shoot up, of course, after Russia invaded Ukraine in 2022. And since then, they've come back down. One big factor is that in many parts of the United States, including in Pennsylvania, we're just awash in gas, and it can be very difficult to transport that natural gas from one place to another.
And the war in Ukraine, so prices originally went up. Why? Because Russian gas was no longer on the market, and so there was scarcity. But now everybody's learned how to deal with a world in which you don't have access to Russian gas, and that's brought the price down again. Is that kind of what happened?
Right. And in the US, we have lots and lots of gas resources, including in the Northeast, in the Marcellus, which runs beneath Pennsylvania and other neighboring states. We've become very good at getting that out of the ground through, as you mentioned, fracking, which is horizontal drilling, and hydraulic fracturing.
And so for those who, and also explain the process of getting gas to market for people in Pennsylvania and why that is actually the challenge. So it's not getting it out of the ground. There's plenty of that happening. Explain this other challenge.
So natural gas, which is used to heat homes, to cook on a stove, to generate electricity, it's challenging to move around. Typically, we do it via pipelines or on tankers that cross the ocean. You can't just load it onto a truck very easily. And in many parts of the United States, it has become very, very difficult to build pipelines, particularly when doing so involves crossing through multiple states, needing sign off from a range of different authorities. And so what you have in Pennsylvania and elsewhere in the country is pockets where the price of natural gas is very depressed, and in some cases, well below the cost of production.
And is this a federal issue that a president can have anything to do with, this transportation of natural gas, making it easier, or is it essentially a state issue that various different states have to get together on?
It is not an easy fix, in part because kind of getting long-haul pipelines approved requires input, of course, from federal regulators, but state authorities and local authorities also, in many cases, have a say as well. And so this is something that a president could work on, but it's not like you could go in and change it overnight.
And finally, quickly, Rebecca, in your piece, you also talked about this tension between, so Donald Trump says he's going to cut energy prices in half. The tension between farmers who want their energy prices that they pay to keep their lights on low, but they want gas prices to go really high. Explain that a little bit.
Energy politics are really complicated in energy producing states. You've got, everyone is a consumer, and as a consumer, you and I want energy costs to fall or generally be low. However, if you're in the business of extracting energy, or, for example, you're a landowner who has agreed to have natural gas extracted on your property and you get a cut of those revenues, you would prefer for natural gas prices to rise or be higher. And so, as a presidential candidate, you've got to kind of think about both of those elements and the competing interests there.
Rebecca Elliott with the New York Times. Thank you so much for your reporting.
Thank you for having me.